Okay, Mr. Lala, my next question that would be is about the USP of Fanzart. First thing is that do you have any kind of competition in India, because I've never heard of such a company doing this kind of products. And second thing is that do you have global players in this particular field?
So you asked me three different things. The first is the USP. I think the USP for us is firstly, all the fans are completely whisper quiet. They're all under 38 decibels and fans usually aren't like that. The second is the variety of designs that we have. We have over 120 designs that suit every type of mood board. So we have classical, contemporary wood crafted, refined industrial, tropical. All of these are, something may fit a classical Kerala home, something may fit a tropical Goa home, villa, apartment, so on and so forth, and different type of looks. The third is our functionality, where what we've done is, there was a thought process that said the faster the fan moved, the better the air delivery. That was not incorrect, but it was slightly inadequate, where actually if you look at the functionality of the fan, it is the angle of the blade that is the most important, followed by the RPM, and that caters to the amount of air displaced. The third is the length of the blade, which basically determines how much area it covers. So we've made those changes other than changes to the motor itself. Then the fourth is the specific application. We have fans specifically for dining tables, specifically for walk-in wardrobes, kitchens, bathrooms, back offices in hotels, hotel lobbies, clubhouses, outdoors, so on and so forth. So we have an outdoor garden fan, we have a mist fan, and as of lately what we've launched is large size HVLS fans, which are those industrial fans that you may have seen at airports or warehouses. Those span from between 8 feet to 24 feet diameter. So we're trying to be everything fans. And so the specific use case of what kind of fan to use for what problem statement is also something that we do. So we have these 3-4 USPs, along with, of course, our features like summer, winter, and so on and so forth, which basically makes us a very strong product brand. We are a product brand wherein we get involved right from the design process to the engineering, sealing integration, manufacturing, testing, import, certification, so on and so forth. I think we do have some competition, not when we started per se, but today I think some of the conventional fan companies are trying to enter the designer space. There are some other entrants into the market. However, I think some of them are pure traders, or their penetration has not been comparable. So they're still newer into the market, and so we have been fortunate enough to have our penetration as well as the product know-how. For example, integration of DC motors into home automation. That was never a thing. DC motors are big because they're like the LEDs of the fan world. DC motor absorbs 70% lesser power, which is why they're coming in a big way. For a mass audience, it may be a difference of 1,500 to 2,000 rupees per fan in electricity. But for a luxury product, it may not be, for a luxury persona, it may not be the difference. But when you scale it to an...
But does your product come in green building?
Yes, sir. About half of our models, at least 55 of them, are powered by DC motors, which basically, if you look at it at an India level, the day all the fans in India will be powered by DC motor, India will save between 3.5 to 4 megawatts of power every hour, which is basically the answer to India's power problems. And so DC motor of the fan is absolutely big, except they don't integrate with home automation systems. So we've solved that as well. So that is the advantage we have over people coming in.
So you have your own R&D, and where is your factory?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So we're a product company. Now every product company has started contract manufacturing. We contract manufacture with about 11 different OEMs, going between Taiwan, Japan, Thailand, Turkey, and our latest one is right here in India. We are looking to partner with more in India. We are trying to follow Make in India as much, and our new HVLS fans are
manufactured here in India. So you get you get all your fans from your the manufacturers abroad in CKD, and then you. So what we do is we work with a design agency based in Spain. We work with them on the design of the product. Okay. Then we bring them to India. We do the engineering and the sealing integration part over here with our R&D. Okay. Then we take them to our OEMs. Our OEMs do the feasibility, we do the tooling and everything else. They manufacture. We have a testing room in Taiwan, in Taipei, where we put up all these fans and we run testing on all of them. We run testing on all of them in temperature controlled rooms. So the temperature goes down to 0, goes up to 50, because they have to go in different parts of India. True. What we've done also with the product is designer fans were never originally made for India. So we've had to make them faster, better breeze because of the subtropical climate. We've increased the purity and the amount of copper in the motors, the ball bearings, of course the DC motor, our electromagnetic motors, capacitors for current fluctuation, so on and so forth. Then of course we bring them to India as a finished good. Oh, I see. Yeah. And now let me ask you, in terms of government policies, do you think you have any, I mean, when you do your daily business, the grind of doing business, do you come across situations where you feel that a tweak in a particular policy would have helped everybody, all these stakeholders, you know, the end user plus the manufacturer plus all the traders, all of them put together? Any kind of policy changes that you would expect to have? So interestingly, so far not yet. So far not yet. I think there wasn't a compliance reason for us to not get into manufacturing. My father used to have about 3 factories earlier, hiring about 3,000 people. And I think when we started this business, he just did not want to deal with the challenges that come with factories. And any of these bigger brands that you see, including your Cromptons and Havels, I think a part of the product is manufactured in-house, a part of it is contract manufactured, according to what I've understood. If anybody from the other companies are hearing, and if my information is incorrect, I apologize. But what I understand from a lot of companies are that contract manufacturing is more asset light to the business, because businesses like these are more inventory heavy, because there is a lot of financial strength needed. Companies like Oriens that started with lesser number of SKUs and then built on it needed to go high volume, and they have that penetration to be able to spread those products, which is why they do high volume. For us, because the penetration is not as much, we cater to the top 3% of India, the top 3%, but we have to offer over 120 SKUs. So to be able to store that, it is quite an inventory, I mean, it is quite a cash intensive business. So getting into manufacturing along with this was a business decision. It had nothing to do with government compliances. I think going forward, I know the government has something to do with certifications and star ratings and all of that, which we are looking at it. And I think the initial fans that we sent for testing have passed all the certification tests and so on and so forth. So we're happy to share that. I don't see any challenges per se, but the question is, you know, when we have fans with higher blade angles and so on and so forth, I think the only thing I would request the government to do is that when you make a rule, don't make a blanket rule. Understand the different buckets and granularities of various products and accordingly make those rules. So far, nothing has really affected us, so to say. But yeah, so no complaints so far. I think so far everything has been
Actually,
fine.
I'm quite surprised that that's exactly what SME elevator manufacturer told us recently.
Okay.
About having regulations which are specific to specific products.
Correct.
And have such this thing that, you know, it can be followed by everybody. You know,
Exactly.
There's a huge problem of compliance because it cannot be followed. It
Exactly.
can't be followed. So what
It can't
can
be.
you
It's
do?
a blanket one, right?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. My fan here, if you look at this particular fan over here with the blades coming down, and you compare a conventional fan which is of 2,000 rupees, you know, goes at about 300 RPM, this can never do that, and that can never do this. And so the products are incomparable, you know.
So this is what we call a fandelier, by the way.
What is it called?
A fandelier, a fan and chandelier.
Chandelier.
So we have an entire range of what we call fandeliers. We have a trademark on the word fandelier as well.
Nobody
And
can
so-
even guess that it's a fan.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, that's the idea.
I almost thought that you were making a fool of me. It's beautiful.
They're very much.
Absolutely beautiful. Okay, sir. Let me get into the other issue of talent. Do you have problem of facing? I mean, do you face problems of getting talent? Because that's another big issue that SME owners tell us. What's your experience?
You know,
with that?
interestingly, yes. I want to say no, but yes, it is true. The reason is, one is these brands are new, right? Our brand is new. Not that new brands have an issue, but any new brand that is funded doesn't have a problem with finding talent. But new brands per se, I think a lot of times what I've realized is an MBA who graduates and gets out, a lot of them within their friends, somebody says I got a job in Deloitte, somebody says I got a job with Ernst & Young, somebody says this, somebody says that. And that's a great bragging right to have within your friends. If somebody says I got a job at Fanzart, guaranteed most of them have probably not heard of us. They're not our target market, and there is no reason for them to, sort of pat their friend on the back because they don't know what Fanzart is. That being said, the person who joins us at Fanzart probably has a greater story to share after being with us for a couple of years compared to any of their friends at Ernst & Young or Deloitte or any of these other companies. But what happens is that discovery itself, there is a little bit of a gap. I'll give you an example. I was taking a test drive from a company called Spinny. If you've heard of them, they buy and sell cars. Okay. And they bring the car to your doorstep for you to test drive. So the person who brought the car home for us to test drive, while we were driving, I was asking him, I said, so you're a nice guy, what have you studied? How did you find your job with Spinny? He said, I'm a mechanical engineer. I wanted to work with cars. I couldn't find a job with a car company or anything to do with AutoCAD. So I went on Naukri.com, I typed automobile, and Spinny showed up. So he said, I took a job with Spinny because I wanted to work with automobiles, and I found them online. Interestingly, when I tried to compare with us, designer fans is never a segment that is very common such as that. And so the fact that we're a new brand, the fact that our corporate office is a very small team, which is backboning about 100 showrooms, and we like to work in person. And after COVID, a lot of people are trying to work from home. We're a small company with a very high growth rate right now who likes to work in person. We're a small brand, and we don't have a search domain such as automobile or anything else, or food. Think of Swiggy, right?
Okay.
I think there is a gap in trying to find people. And at the same time, we love to find people who can fit into our culture as well. And so, yes, there is a slight problem or there is a slight gap in finding people, but hopefully we'll try and close that gap with newer recruitment avenues coming as well as our brand growing. Hopefully we'll try and reduce that chasm as much as possible.
Tarun, you are not alone, because it was, I guess, Mr. Narayan Murthy who said that IITians are unemployable.
Very true, very true.
So I guess everybody's experience is the same.
And if he said something like this, he's probably one of the biggest employers in the country today.
Absolutely.
So running such a big services giant is very people dependent, and I don't know anybody else in the country who must have hired as many people as he.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for being with us.
Sir, thank you so much for your time and for being here today. Thank you so much.